Rachel, do you get the stuff from yesterday? Because I did forget to record. I'm sorry. I thought I was going to get a 2-minute thing, and then people were like, no, I don't get this. So I just kept going and never got it. Alright, so for logs, this is the basic formula that you need to know. Because once we get into that form, we can do whatever. And I can leave any of these three variables blank. So, I can give you b and y and ask you to find x. I can give you b and x and ask you to find y. Or, all the different combinations there. But you can't really work with that log there. So, this is what we did yesterday, is kind of practicing this. So now we're just almost going backwards and stuff. But okay, what if they give it to you in log? So, I always teach it's like a little, kind of like a circular pattern. So if you start here, you raise it to that power, and then that's going to equal the number back on that side. And then let's just go through like an example or a couple examples of leaving each variable blank. So let's say the most common way is just leaving the y blank. So let's say it was like log base 9 of 81. So it doesn't look like the formula that I gave you, so I'm going to put that equals y there. So it does kind of look like the formula I gave you. And then I'm going to rewrite it as, exponent's not a log in it, so I'm going to go 9 to the y equals 81. And then I think most of you can just look at that and say that's 2, but sometimes it gets a little more complicated, so let me break down like what you're actually doing. Is you're getting these two things into a common base. So like what number can I raise to a power and get 9 and raise to a different power and get 81? Is 9, right? So this is 9 to the y, and 81 is actually 9 to the second. And then like the 9's cancel, and your answer is 2. So I had log base. So this can get a little tougher than those. Let's do another simpler one first. Let's say log base 25 of 5. So again, I'm going to throw the equals y on there. I'm going to do my little circle pattern here. 25 to the y equals 5. And then some of you might be able to answer this right now, and some of you might not, and that's okay either way. But if you think through like what's really happening, you want to break these down into a common base. So what base do 5 and 25 have in common? It'd be 5. So rewrite the 25. That's 5 squared. If you can get this answer without doing all this, that's totally fine. I'm just showing you the process of what's really happening. Power to a power, what do I do with those? Multiply them, so that's 5 to the 2y, and then what power is really over here? There's a 1, right? And then the 5's cancel. 2y equals 1. Divide by 2, and you'd get y equals a half. And I think a lot of you up here were just like, well, it's a square root, so it's a half. And that's totally fine, but sometimes it's not that obvious, so you want to know the process also. Questions on either of those two? I didn't catch what you did here. What's going on there? Okay. Try this. That's a little tougher. Not too bad, but. Done?
Yes.
Mic drop?
What?
Throw it on my desk and join us for some logs.
Yeah.
Right? You okay?
Yeah, good. Yeah. Tired.
I didn't ask if you were okay.
Oh, I thought you said, are you okay?
No, I don't care about you.
Oh, okay.
I saw the test ones.
Oh, yeah, that was it.
Alright.
Oh, I. Gets every question wrong. I can guarantee myself.
Nice.
I think I might get it.
Nice. How are you doing? I care about you too.
I'm alright.
Okay.
Tires.
Alright, so equals y, and then I'm going to go over and write this. So 8 to the y equals 4. And again, some of you might be able to just see that and kind of get the answer from there. If you can't, that's fine. But I want to break these down into a base they have in common. So 8 is really 2 to the third. And I'm going to skip, like, is this step here really necessary? Where I split the 2, like 5 squared and then y. So I can just jump to like 2 to the 3y. You know what I'm saying? And then 4 is 2 squared. So then 3y equals 2, and then y would equal 2 thirds. How many had 2 thirds? Good. Let's try log base base 4/9 of 8 over 27. You can kind of assume that the top and the bottom of the fraction will have the same answer. The same power will work for both. Otherwise the question wouldn't really make sense. So you really only need to worry about the top or the bottom. Then you can kind of check that the other one works. But you don't have to think about it as a fraction. You can think about it separately. So if I throw the equals y on there, you know, I get 4/9 to the y equals, not sure why I put parentheses, but 8 over 27. I'm going to break down, like the top can break down into what? 2, and the bottom will break down into 3. So this is going to be 2 thirds to the 2y, because if I do 2 squared, I get 4, and if I do 3 squared, I get 9. And this will be 2 thirds to the third. If I do 2 to the third, I get 8. 3 to the third, I get 27. So I get them in fractions, totally fine to work with 2. And then those will go away. You get 2y equals 3. And then we divide. How many had 3's? I mean, if you can do that one, that's about as bad as they can look. So you should feel good there. Let me just double check a couple things here, see if you remember. If there's no number written, like if there's no base written, what's really there? 10. And with 10s, you can just count the zeros. So this is 10 to the y equals 1,000. That's going to be 3 because there's 3 zeros. So, I mean, really, you're going 10 to the y equals 10 to the third. But with 10s, you can just, it's nice, you can count the zeros. Sometimes you have to combine a couple of them. So, for example, if I gave you log base, let's just say log of 20 plus log of 5. So that's kind of asking, like if I try to work these out separately, this is saying 10 to what power gives me 20. That's not 2, because 10 to the second power is 100. 10 to what power gives me 20 is a really hard question to answer. It's like 1 point something, you know. And 10 to what power gives me 5 is really hard too. That's not going to be, I think it's going to be a decimal. But addition of logs combines to be multiplication. The reason for that is when you're multiplying bases, you add the powers. If you want to get into why that works. But this would turn into log of 100. So when I'm adding up two logs, I can multiply the two numbers that are being logged, and then log them up. Now these two problems were impossible without a calculator. Now I can do it. So with 10 to what power gives me 100? So now that'd be 2. Let's say log of 50 minus log of 2. If addition combines to be multiplication, then subtraction must combine to be division. Remember yesterday how I tried to move too fast and you guys stopped me because you didn't know what was going on, or some people did? Please do that if that's what's happening. Like, that's necessary. We okay so far? So this would turn into the log of, and it's always the first one divided by the second one. Oh, this problem still sucks. Put 5s there. Put base 5s. That'll make it easier. My bad. Who said hold on? Doesn't matter. I'll hold on. So if I put 5s there, it makes a lot more sense. So now it'll turn into log base 5 of 25, and then 5 to what power gives you 25? So this would be 2 also. They're often 2 when I make them up in my head. That okay? What's up with the 5 there? Questions? All right. Another fancy rule that you can use. Let's say log base 3 of 9 to the 50th power. So I'm going to work through it the long process way, and then I'll show you the shortcut, which is a lot less annoying. This would turn into 3 to the y equals 9 to the 50th. Right, if I just work through my circle pattern thing here. And then I'll break them down into common bases. So this would be 3 to the y equals 3 squared to the 50th. And then what do you do when it's power to a power? So you multiply, so this would be 3 to the y equals 3 to the 100. And then they cancel out. And you would get 100. And that's a totally valid way to do the problem. But there's a shorter way. I don't know if it's even shorter. It's probably shorter. There's a rule that says you could, if you have an exponent up here, you can drop it down in front and say this is the same as 50 times log base 3 of 9. And then this is a lot easier to work with. So this is just saying 3 to what power gives me 9, which is 2, right? And then 50 times 2 is 100. So both those are valid techniques. I just want to remind you of this rule, basically. So try one of those. Try that. So if I throw the equals y there, I can do, I can go, okay, that's 16 to the y equals 4 to the 10. I can break this down and say that's 4 squared. And do it this way. So then the 2y equals 4's will cancel and you'll get y equals 5. You could also take this 10 and throw it in front and go, okay, that's 10 times log base 16 of 4. And this might be easier for this one. For some of you, because I don't know how comfortable you guys are doing this in your head. 16 to what power gives me 4? That's a half to the square root, right? So 10 times a half will give you 5 also. So you get the same thing either way. I'm curious, how many did it this way? So how many did it this way? Sorry about that. Okay, cool. Doesn't matter to me, as long as you get it. If I have natural log of, like, 8, let's say. I'm not going to ask you to solve this, but I'm going to show you what it means. What base is really there if it's natural log? It's really E. The AP test freaking loves these. So to rewrite this, you would say, okay, that's E to the Y equals 8. And they would never ask you to solve that. I'm basically trying to show you that so I can show you the next thing. So just remember, if it's ln, the base that's really down there is E. The questions you'll get a lot of, be something like this. Like this will be involved in a ton of the questions that you do. Like ln of E to the 7th. And so I'm going to work through it, but there's a super simple shortcut. What base is really here? Is E. So if I go E to the Y equals E to the 7th, what's going to happen to the E's? They're going to cancel, and I get Y equals 7. Well, is there any reason I really even need to rewrite it? If the E's are going to cancel anyways, can't I just do it right away? So that's the main point I'm trying to get across here. Yeah?
I have no idea how you went from the first step to the second step. From ln E.
Do you know why there's an E down here?
Oh, wait, the question is ln E to the E to the 7. Can you
I would say natural log with the base of E gives you, you're right.
Oh, okay.
Then you're good? So my point is, can't you just, ln's and e's are just opposites. They just cancel out. So let's imagine we put that 7 in front there. 7 times ln of E. ln of E's go away, so your answer's 7. So, and this comes up a ton. I know it feels stupid to like practice this, but I don't know how else. You guys will forget it. I don't know how else to. So what's the natural log of E to the 15? 15. Natural logs and E's cancel. Your answer is 15. And that comes up a lot. What else? Okay, so far we've left the Y blank every time. I don't have to leave the Y blank. I could give you something like this. Log base B of 125 equals 3 halves. And then we get into kind of the stuff we were doing yesterday again. So if you write that, write the equation pattern thingy. That's my high vocabulary there. B to the 3 halves equals 125. And then how do you get rid of powers? Raise to the reciprocal power. So I'm going to raise both sides to the 2/3. Power to a power, what do? Multiply, and what's 2/3 times 3 halves? It's 1, that's the whole reason we did that, so this is just B. And then, what's the third root of 125? 5 squared, 25. We're doing like this is like a full chapter of logs that we're doing right now in, 20 minutes, so if I'm going too fast, please tell me. Seems like we're okay though, yeah? You what? Oh.
Yeah, that goes last year.
They're just powers. Like once you realize it's just a power, it becomes so much easier. Nope, that doesn't work. No. Sorry, that's garbage. This is kind of like the same question, I guess, but do it anyways. Incredibly similar to the previous question. So again, if you use your little circle pattern, b to the 3 halves equals 8. Raise both sides to reciprocal power, and you end up doing 8 to the 2/3. 30 root of 8 is 2. 2 squared. How many of you guys have 4? Cool. So the last kinds, the only variable I haven't left blank yet is this, like where the x goes, is this slot. So, but that's the easiest kind. So look at, let's say log base 3 of x equals 2. I get that, like, if I had put that on the board before class, I bet most people wouldn't know what to do. It looks, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. A lot of people. It looks intimidating, but if you rewrite this, what's it say? 3 squared equals x. I think we can solve that, you know? So that's the whole thing. Like, once you realize, just put it in powers, it takes everything away, and it becomes a lot easier. Questions on any of this stuff I just went through? Again, that was like a 2-week unit in advanced algebra. Alan, did you guys do logs and precalc too? I mean, that was a lot we just did. So, I mean, you've seen it before now. That helps. But anything I can answer? Look at me and laugh. That's a little like, yeah, it's like the. Like compare the contrast between those two sets of notes.
I don't know, but I'm so.
So I think we can maybe get this done before you guys leave. Check it before you leave. I'm not sure how fast you'll do them, but we'll see. I'll do 2. I'll put answers up here and see how far we get.